In this video, I will discuss a topic in financial accounting and reporting, which is notes receivable. So, in a credit sales transaction, the entity may grant a credit to a customer orally or in writing. So, in an oral credit sales transaction, the entity will recognize accounts receivable. Kapag may promissory note naman, or the credit sales is made by issuing a note, then the entity will recognize notes receivable. So, in a promissory note, it will be written by the maker. In this case, it refers to the customer. Promises to pay to the payee. So, the payee here would be the entity, a certain amount of money. Ayan. Again, in a credit sales transaction, the entity will record notes receivable if the credit customer issues a promissory note. Now, ano naman itong dishonored notes? So, when a certain condition stated in the agreement within the note are not met by the maker, such as the date when the amount owed must be paid was lapsed, the note is to be dishonored. Ayan. So, kapag in instances daw na hindi na meet ni maker o ni credit customer ang mga conditions na makikita sa notes or sa promissory note, then it will make the notes or the promissory note dishonored. So what happens when a notes or a promissory note is dishonored? Okay, so theoretically, the dishonored notes receivable should be reclassified to accounts receivable. So si entity theoretically, no, magpe-prepare ng journal entry to reclassify or to transfer the notes receivable to the accounts receivable. So may example tayo dyan later. So consequently, the note becomes payable on demand. So kapag ang note ay naging dishonored, okay, kasi a notes or a promissory note is a negotiable instrument, no? So if a promissory note being a negotiable instrument ay na-dishonor because of the maker being or having to fail to meet some conditions in the or in a promissory note, then it lost its credibility as a negotiable instrument. No? Kaya, ita-transfer siya from the notes receivable to accounts receivable. And if it happens, then the said receivable may become payable on demand. Meaning, when the note is dishonored, the period allowed for the customer to pay will no longer exist. Thus, the holder of the note may demand a payment from the maker anytime. So, si entity may demand payment from the maker who dishonored the said promissory note anytime. Yan. So, the payment amount will include, of course, the principal of the note, interests, and other charges. So, may example tayo dito. If a note receivable amounting to 100,000 pesos was dishonored by the maker due to non-payment. Okay, so to recognize the note and transfer it to accounts receivable, okay, so the entry would be a debit to accounts receivable and a credit to notes receivable. So, nag-credit tayo ng notes receivable to recognize the said amount dahil nga na-dishonor na yung notes. No? And consequently, okay, transferring it to accounts receivable, which makes the account payable on demand by the entity, of course. Yeah. So, how to measure notes receivable ba? Okay, so, in initial measurement or recognition, notes receivable shall be measured initially at present value. Ayan. So, dahil ang notes receivable ay isang financial asset and according to the standard that financial assets should be measured initially at present value. So the present value is the sum of all future cash flows discounted using the prevailing market rate of interest for similar notes, no? Or the effective interest rate. Yan. So explain natin later kung ano yung mga market rate of interest na yan. So however, there are other notes that are initially measured at other bases. So ano ba yung mga notes receivable na at initial measurement, it is not measured at present value. Okay, so take a look at this table here. Ayan. So you have there type of note. Okay, and in this side, the initial measurement. Ayan. So if there is a notes receivable, okay, the question would have to be, ano ba ang notes receivable na yan? Okay, so interest bearing ba yan or non-interest bearing? Okay. So yung mga notes na interest bearing ay in its face, makikita mo doon yung interest. Ayan. Okay? So the interest na kailangan bayaran, of course, ni maker. Okay? Now, if a note naman has no interest rate in its face, then that note is said to be non-interest bearing. Okay, so an interest-bearing note may be short-term or long-term. So kahit na ang interest-bearing ay short-term or long-term, it shall be measured initially at face value. So kung ano talaga yung amount ng note, yun yung amount na gagamitin as the measurement of the said note. Okay? Ayan. Now, if a non-interest-bearing note naman is short-term, still initially measured at face value. Okay? So you only measure initially a note or a non-interest-bearing note kapag long-term ang non-interest-bearing note. Okay? So again, if a non-interest-bearing notes receivable is long-term, meaning it matures after 1 year, then that note should be measured initially at present value. Now, kung may initial measurement, of course, meron din tayong subsequent measurement. So, subsequently, long-term non-interest-bearing notes receivable shall be measured at amortized cost, while others will be as is at face value. So, going back, okay, if a notes receivable is measured at its face value initially, then subsequently, face value pa rin yung magiging measurement niya. However, okay, if a non-interest-bearing note is long-term, di ba? It should be measured initially at present value. Okay? So its subsequent measurement would be the initial measurement of the note, of course, less principal repayment, plus or minus the cumulative amortization of any difference between the initial carrying amount and the present maturity amount, minus reduction for impairment, then you get the amortized cost. So accordingly, a non-interest bearing long-term notes receivable shall subsequently be measured at amortized cost. So paano kunin si amortized cost? You have here the formula. Ayan. So what does cumulative amortization of any difference between the initial carrying amount and the principal maturity amount mean? Ayan. So, eto daw, okay, ano ba to? Ayan. Now, if the initial measurement of a note or of a financial asset is different from its face value, then we can or we may recognize a discount or a premium. Ayan. So, every period, say, every year, ina-amortize natin yung difference ng initial measurement or present value and the face value of a financial asset. Ina-amortize natin sila whether discount ba yan or premium ba yan. Okay? So, pag may amortization na tayo ng discount at saka ng premium, then we can actually get the cumulative amortization of any difference, ayan, between the initial carrying amount and the principal maturity amount. Ayan. So, of course, to get the amortized cost of a financial asset measured at present value. So, don't worry, may mga examples tayo dyan, no? To make you further understand, this amortized cost. Ayan. So, at the initial recognition, a financial asset such as the notes receivable will be analyzed whether there is a discount or premium. Ayan. So, again, kapag may difference ng face value, okay, or the principal amount and the initial carrying amount or present value ng isang financial asset, then it will give rise to a discount or premium. Ayan. So, kailan ba magkaka-discount o kailan magkaka-premium? So, if the principal amount or face value and the present value of the notes are compared, and again, kapag may difference between the two, then it will be either discount or premium. So, there is discount, okay, if the principal amount is higher than the present value. Okay. So, for example, may 500,000 ka na note at its face value. And pag no-compute mo yung present value niya, naging 450,000 na lang using the market rate of interest. So, it will give rise to a discount. Ayan. So, that's principal amount is higher or greater than the present value. Now, there is premium naman if otherwise. No? So, kung mas maliit ang principal amount kesa sa present value, so there is premium. So, for example, if the face value or the principal amount of your note is 500,000, tapos in computing the present value of that note, you get 550,000. So, mas malaki si present value kaysa sa principal amount. Then, the difference na 50,000 would mean the premium. Okay, so may discount or premium na tayo. Now, ano bang gagawin natin sa discount or sa premium na yan? Okay? So, when the note is issued at discount, meaning mas malaki ang principal amount kaysa sa present value, then it indicates that the maker is willing to pay more, okay, the principal than the true value, the present value of the note. No? So, on the point of view of the entity naman, which is the payee, the discount is a gain. Okay? However, kapag na-compute mo na yung discount during that year, it doesn't mean na you entirely recognize that discount as gain in the income statement. Okay? So the gain is not recognized immediately in the profit or loss. Instead, it must be deferred first, okay, by recognizing unearned interest income. So again, yung gain, the discount which is considered as gain, okay, dine-defer siya. Ayan. And nire-recognize muna siya as unearned interest income. And kina-classify siya or nire-reclassify siya to interest income as time goes by. Ayan. And will be amortized subsequently. As such, the amortization of discount is added to the carrying amount of the note to get the amortized cost. So, itong phrase na ito, babalikan natin to later, no? Pag nag-discuss na tayo or nag-answer na tayo ng mga illustrations. Now, how about the premium? So, it is only in rare cases that a note will be issued at premium. Okay? So, but for other financial assets such as loans receivable or bonds receivable, it may occur to be issued at premium. So, such premium is a loss on the point of view of the entity. So, itong discussion na ito about premium, it will be more emphasized in our discussion sa loans receivable. Kasi in a notes receivable, particularly if it is non-interest bearing, hindi tayo makakapag-recognize dyan ng premium. Kasi usually, yung marirecognize natin dyan is discount, okay, where the present value is less than the principal amount. Of course, again, discuss natin yan later, okay, when we answer problems. Ayan. So, we have here an illustration, no, of an interest-bearing note. Okay, so an entity owned a tract of land costing 800,000 pesos and sold the land for 1 million. Okay? So ano na yung sabi niya? That si entity, may land siya costing 800,000, binenta niya for 1 million. Now, the consideration is ito. The entity received a 3-year note for 1 million plus interest of 12% compounded annually. Okay? So, the sale or the credit sale transaction is represented by a promissory note. Okay? So, dahil may promissory note, kaya magre-records entity ng notes receivable. Okay? And as you can see, may interest or interest bearing ang note amounting to 1 million. Okay? So, the interest being 12%. And remember, compounded annually. Okay? So, the interest also earns interest. Okay? If it is compounded, no? Ayan. So, the selling price of 1 million is reasonably assumed to be the present value of the note because the note is interest bearing. So, in initial recognition, dahil nga ang note is interest bearing, kaya it should be measured initially at face value. Ayan. Kaya nag-debit tayo dito ng notes receivable at its face value na 1 million. Okay? And then credit natin ang land. Of course, the cost of which is 800,000. So credit din 800,000 for the land, cost of the land. And the difference of 1 million selling price and the cost of the land na 800,000, of course, it will be what? Recorded as gain. So credit din tayo ng gain on sale of land for 200,000. Ayan. Now, this is the journal entries for first year. Okay? So, at the end of the year, ayan. So, again, dahil ang interest ay compounded, meaning the interest is not paid every year. So, it is paid at the end. Ayan, the entire interest, compounded interest, will be paid at the end of or at the maturity of the note in 3 years time. Ayan. So dahil wala pang na-receive si entity na bayad for the interest expense, then or for the interest, then mag-a-accrue siya. Okay? So record accrued interest receivable, credit interest income. Okay? For 120,000. Paano yan kinuha? Of course, that's 1 million multiplied by the interest rate, 12%. Okay? Ayan. So, how about for the second year? So, for the second year, remember na meron na tayong recorded na accrued interest receivable in the first year. No? So, remember also that this is compounded annually. Kaya, itong accrued interest receivable na ito, it will be added to the principal. No? Kasi nga, again, compounded. So, the updated principal now would be 1 million plus 120,000 accrued interest last year. So, the updated or the carrying amount now of the note is 1,120,000. So, itong 1,120,000 na ito na yung magiging basis natin in computing the interest receivable for the second year. So, that's 1,120,000 multiplied by 12%. That gives you 134,400 as interest income for the second year. So that's a debit to accrued interest receivable, 134,400, and a credit to interest income na 134,400. Now, what about the entries for the third year or the final year? Ayan. So, compute mo natin yung carrying amount at the end of the second year. Okay? Ayan. So, that's face value na 1 million plus the computed interest for the first year, 120,000, plus the computed interest for the second year na 134,400. Okay? The total interest, accrued interest, is 254,400. Again, kasi nga compounded annually, so it will be added to the carrying amount of the note. So the carrying amount of the note for at the end of the second year would be 1,254,400. So ito na yung magiging basis natin in computing the interest income for the third year. That's times 12%. That gives you 150,528 as interest for the third year. So at the settlement date, the journal entry would be this one, no? So debit tayo ng cash, okay, for 1,404,928. So saan kinuha to? Of course, that's from the carrying amount, okay, at the end of the second year, na 1,254,400 plus the interest in the third year na 150,528. Okay, that gives us 1,404,928 cash. Ayan, debit. Okay? So ito yung ibabayad ni or kokolektahin ni entity kay customer. Okay, at the end of the or at the maturity date. Ayan. So of course, a credit to notes receivable to recognize the face value of the notes for 1 million, okay? And also a credit to accrued interest receivable, okay, for 254,400. So saan kinuha to? Ito yung accrued interest receivable natin for the first and the second year. Okay? Ayan, that's 254,400. And of course, in the third year, the interest income. No? Okay? So remember na sa third year, at the end of the third year, that's the settlement date. Okay? So may isang taon pa, the third year. No? So of course, mag-earn pa yun ng interest si entity doon, which is as compounded. Okay? Kaya merong 150,528 na interest income for the third year. So may credit na interest income na eto 150,528. So this is the example, okay, in recording journal entries for an interest bearing note. Ayan. Now let's proceed to the non-interest bearing note, long-term non-interest bearing note, where the initial measurement is the present value. So first, paano ba computein ang mga present values or relevant to notes receivable? Okay? How to compute present values ba? So in a non-interest bearing long-term notes receivable, may tatlong present value factors na pwedeng gamitin depending on each situation. Ayan. So number one, we have there the present value of 1. The second one naman is present value of an ordinary annuity of 1. And the third one is the present value of an annuity due of 1. So kailan mo ba gamitin ang mga to? Ayan. Okay? So gagamitin mo si present value of 1, okay, when computing the present value of a single future cash flows. Kung isahan lang yung cash flows, then the present value factor na gagamitin will be the present value of 1. Okay, so for example, may single cash flow in the future. For example, si entity may pinautang na customer, okay, at babayaran ni customer after 2 years. Okay, pero the payment is not installment, but single or lump sum payment. So, yung gagamitin ni entity in computing the present value of the future single time cash flow is present value of 1. Ayan. Or kapag stream of payment pero unequal or installment yung payment pero the installment is unequal. Okay? For example, ayan. So, compute the present value of 1 million pesos to be received in unequal payments. For example, makaka-receive ka ng 200,000 after year 1, tapos 300,000 after year 2, tapos 500,000 after year 3. O di ba? That's the total of these 3 would be 1 million. Okay? And the cash flow is stream of cash flows, or there is stream of cash flows or installment. Okay? Kaya lang unequal yung cash flow. Yan. So if this is the case, then still yung gagamitin mo is the present value of 1. Ayan. So kukunin mo lang yung present value ng 200,000, okay, in 1 periods. Ayan. The present value of 1 period pala. The present value of 300,000 in 2 periods. The present value of 500,000 in 3 periods using a applicable market rate of interest. So the present value of this, and this, total mo lang, then you get the present value of 1 million. Ayan. And may formula ka na. Okay, so the PV factor is equal to 1 plus I raised to the power of negative n. Okay, where the I is the interest rate, applicable interest rate, and the negative n is of course the period. And so for example, kinuha mo yung present value ng 200,000. Okay? Dahil after 1 year mo pa siya ma-receive, kaya yung n dito would be negative 1. Yan. If kukunin mo naman yung present value ng 300,000 na ma-receive mo after 2 years, so yung n dito would be what? Negative 2. And so on. Ayan. Now, the second one is present value of an ordinary annuity of 1. So, kailan mo naman ito gagamitin? Okay? So, it is used when computing the present value of a stream of equal future cash flows. Ayan. So, for example, si entity, may notes receivable, no, na 1 million, okay, to be received in the next 5 years, okay, 200,000 every year. So, meaning 200,000 every year for 5 years, that's 200,000 times 5, that's 1 million. So, kapag makaka-receive si entity ng 200,000 every year, of course, that's equal installment. No? So, dahil equal installment siya, then you can just compute the present value of 1 million, okay, using the present value of an ordinary annuity of 1. Ayan. So, the formula would be, okay, to get the present value factor, that's 1 minus 1 plus I raised to the power of negative n divided by I. Ayan. So, number 3 naman is the present value of an annuity due of 1. So, kailan naman ito gagamitin? So, it is used when computing the present value of a future cash flows to be received at the beginning of each period. Okay, so example tayo para mas maintindihan. No? So, on January 1, 2021, Jose received a notes receivable for 50,000 to be settled in 5 equal annual installment. Okay? So, si Jose daw, makaka-receive siya ng 10,000 every year for 5 years. Okay? The total of which is 50,000 na nasa notes receivable. Okay? Remember that the date na na-receive ni Jose ang note or promissory note is on January 1, 2021. And remember also that the payment is installment, no? Equal annual installment, 10,000 every year, 5 years. Kaya lang, the first installment, no, was received on the same date, okay, on January 1, 2021. Ayan. So meaning, makaka-receive siya ng payment, okay, 10,000 at the beginning of each year. And eto pa, the first payment was made on the date na na-receive niya yung promissory note. So if that's the case, tapos gusto mong kunin yung present value of the entire 50,000, and at dahil the payment, the annual payment and the annual installment will be received at the beginning of each year, yung gagamitin mo would be the present value of an annuity due of 1. How to get the present value factor? That's 1 minus 1 plus I raised to the power of negative n plus 1 all over I Then, pag nakuha mo na to, dito na portion, saka mo palang i-add si 1. Of course, constant to. Ayan. Okay? But, commonly, sa mga problems, yung required or yung usually ginagamit, okay, is etong dalawang to. Ayan. Pero, of course, ginagamit din to. Ayan. Now, if you want more discussions with illustrations about present values, itong tatlong to, in computing the present value of a long-term non-interest bearing notes, just comment down below. Now, let's proceed to illustrations in or for non-interest bearing notes. Okay, so illustration number 2 for non-interest bearing note. Yeah. So an entity manufactures and sells machinery on January 1, 2017. So the entity sold machinery costing 280,000 pesos for 400,000 pesos. So may machinery daw costing 280,000 pesos na binenta for 400,000 pesos. Now, as consideration or payment, the buyer signed a non-interest bearing note for 400,000 payable in 4 equal installment. So there is series or stream of payment, no? Every December 31. So the cash sales price of the machinery is 350,000. Ayan. May questions dito. Una, that's compute the unearned interest income. Okay. The second one is to compute the gross income and the preparation of journal entries. Now, unahin muna natin ang pag-compute sa unearned interest income. Okay? So, remember that dahil non-interest bearing ito, si 400,000, we need to compute its present value kasi the initial measurement of which is the present value. Okay? So, let's compute present value. Okay? So, normally, if a non-interest bearing note, okay, the present value of a non-interest bearing note is computed using a applicable market rate of interest and the period of the note. Okay? So in this case, dahil walang rate na binigay, okay, pero remember, merong binigay na cash sales price. Okay? So meaning, pag binenta daw ang machinery on a cash basis, no, the price would have been 350,000 pesos. So meaning, ito na yung magiging basis natin or ito na yung present value ng note. Ayan. So kasi kung binenta daw siya on a cash basis, 350,000 lang yung presyo niya. Pero dahil on credit siya, okay? So dahil on credit siya, naging 400,000. So meaning, the difference of the 400,000 and the 350,000 would be the interest. No? Interest. Ayan. So, dito may face value tayo sa note, which is 400,000. And again, the present value of the note would be the cash selling price of the machinery na 350,000. Okay? So, ito na yung present value ng note. Also, 350,000. So, the difference between the two would be the interest. Okay? Ayan, interest income yan siya on the part of the entity or the seller. Ayan. Pero dahil hindi pa yan siya earned ni entity, so dinidefer yan siya. Kaya it will be recorded as unearned interest income. Okay? So the difference between the face value of the note and its present value. Okay? In this case, that's 50,000. Ayan. Now, may unearned interest income na tayo. Okay? How about the gross income? So, of course, to compute the gross income, that's the cash selling price of the machinery na 350,000. Okay? Ito. Less its cost. So, accordingly, may cost siya na 280,000 pesos. So, deduct mo lang yan siya. Then, you'll get the gross income for 70,000. Okay? So, the cash sales price of the machinery minus its cost will give you gross income. Ayan. Okay. So, prepare tayo ng journal entries. Ayan. So, di ba 4 years yon? Remember, 4 years. From January 1, 2017 to 2020. Ayan. Okay. So, we have here journal entries, no? So, gawa tayo ng journal entries for 2017. Okay? So, at the time of sale, syempre, yung entry mo would be what? Notes receivable. Okay? The face value, no? 400,000. Ayan. And credit to sales. So, the sales amount here would be its cash selling price na yung 350,000. Ayan. As provided. So, credit sales, 350,000. Ayan. And the difference, of course, to unearned interest income na 50,000. So, ito yung magiging entry natin initially or entry natin at the time of sale. Okay? Ayan. So, to record the first installment, so at the end of 2017, so on December 31, 2017, di ba sabi ng problem that the 400,000 will be paid in 4 equal annual installments. So 400,000 divided by 4, that will give the entity a 100,000 payment, no, every year. So of course, at the end of year 1 or on 2017, December 31, 2017, makaka-receive si entity ng first annual installment amounting to, of course, as computed, 100,000. Ayan. That's 400,000 divided by 4. Now, the next question is, dahil may isang taon na, no, na nag-lapse, so the 50,000 unearned interest income should be what? Should now be amortized. Okay? Or a part of this 50,000 should be what? Recognized already as interest income. Now, the question is, paano and how much? Okay? So, ito na siya. So, to recognize the amortization of unearned interest income, okay, as income over the term of the note, then for year 1 or itong entry na to still for 2017 to, end of 2017 or December 31, 2017. Okay, so it would be a debit to unearned interest income, which is 20,000, and again a recognition of an interest income na yan for 20,000 kasi itong 50,000 na unearned income, okay, or deferred interest income, gradual yung magiging recognition niya, okay, from period to period. Yeah. But now the question is, paano kinuha si 20,000? Ayan. So kinuha si 20,000 by, okay, in this table. Paano naman kinuha si 10 na denominator? So ganito 'yon. 'Di ba may 4 years na, or yung life ng note is 4 years. Okay? So that's tapos every year makaka-receive ng pera or ng payment, 100,000 in particular si entity. Ayan. So that's 4 years, 3 years, 2 years, and 1 year. Ayan. So dito, you have here 4, 3, 2, 1. So from 2017, from the execution of the sale transaction, ayan. So from that date, may 4 years na life yung note. Kaya yung gagamitin natin for 2017 will be 4. Paano naman tong 10? Okay, of course, i-add lang natin ang 4 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1. Then we get the denominator na 10. So that's 4 years over 10. Okay? From 2016 naman is 3 years na lang until, from 2018, 3 years na lang until the maturity of the note. So 3 over 10. In 2019 naman, 2 years na lang from the maturity of the note, kaya 2 over 10. And in 2020, of course, 1 year. That's 1 over 10. So, dito naman, okay, so the notes receivable outstanding balance per year. Okay, so in year 1, okay, at the date of the execution or at the happening of the sales transaction, syempre, the amount of the note is 400,000. Gradually, lumiliit siya because of the annual payment. So, 400,000, okay, at the beginning of the life of the note, okay. Tapos, pagka December 31, 2017, nagbayad si customer ng 100,000. So, naging 300,000 na lang in 2018, naging 200,000 na lang in 2019, naging 100,000 na lang in 2020. Ayan. Okay, so dito may multiply of course for the first amortization of the unearned interest income, that's 400,000 multiplied by 4 over 10. Okay, that's 20,000 of course. So itong 20,000 natin, ito yung magiging interest income natin for year 1 or for 2017. That's again a debit to unearned interest income. Okay, so this is to recognize a part of the 50,000 recorded unearned interest income and transferring it to or recognizing it as interest income during the year. Yeah. So for in 2018 naman, that's 300,000 times, of course, 3 years na lang magmamature na yung note. So that's 3 over 10. Okay? So that's 15,000. So itong 15,000 naman, ito yung magiging interest income for year 2 or for 2018. Ayan. So let's proceed with further eto. Ayan. Now, what if tinanong ka about how much is the carrying amount or the amortized cost of the note, okay, as of December 31, 2017. Siyempre, dahil gradual yung collection mo, okay, ng notes receivable, part of that is classified as current asset and part of which is also classified as non-current asset. Ayan. So if a financial position is prepared, okay, on December 31, 2017, so after a year, or from the transaction, ayan. So the notes receivable, okay, the current portion of which is 100,000, which is true, di ba? Kasi yung 100,000, yun yung marireceive na naman natin in 2018. So yun lang yung ika-classify natin as current asset. Okay, so that's 100,000. Okay. And remember that subsequent to initial measurement, okay, mini-measure natin yung notes receivable at amortized cost. So to compute the amortized cost, okay, we get the unearned interest income which is the current portion. So ano ba yung current portion yan, which is that's 15,000. So saan pa kinuha si 15,000? So the current portion of the unearned interest income is ito, as computed in the table. That's 15,000. So yun yung i-deduct natin sa current portion ng notes receivable, which leaves us with 15,000 na carrying amount of the note or its amortized cost. 85,000. Ayan. So the total unearned interest income actually is 50,000. Ayan. So 50,000 as computed here. Dito, 50,000. And remember na in 2017, may 20,000 na na-recognize as interest income. Okay, so i-deduct natin from 50,000 yung 20,000 na na-recognize or na-realize na in 2017. So the balance of the unearned interest income na lang as of December 31, 2017 is 30,000. Ayan. So the balance of the unearned interest income as of December 31, 2017 na 30,000. 15,000 dyan is realizable in 2018. Okay? So the current portion of the 30,000 unearned interest income as of December 31, 2017, 15,000 of which is current portion. Okay, of course, 30 minus 15, that leaves us with another 15,000 na non-current portion ng unearned interest income or to be realizable beyond 2018 na. Ayan. So remember na i-recognize lang natin yung current portion, okay, in December 31, 2017 yung marirealize in 2018. So therefore, if marirealize pa yan sa beyond 2018 na, then that is non-current portion. In this case, yung non-current portion natin would be itong realizable in 2019 and in 2020, which is 10 plus 5,000, that's 15,000. Okay, so the non-current portion naman, okay, of the notes receivable will be presented as follows. And but before that, ano ba or magkano ba yung non-current portion ng note receivable? Okay, so di ba sabi natin na magiging non-current siya. Okay, in December 31, 2017, magiging non-current siya if realizable siya beyond 2018. So kapag collectible siya in 2019 and 20, okay, yun yung portion ng note na non-current. Okay, so as you can see in the table, no, in 2019, yung balance ng note, okay, at the end of, in 2019 is 200,000. Ayan. Okay, so ito yung ating non-current portion ng ating note receivable, 200,000. And if you will be asked to compute for the carrying amount or amortized cost of the non-current portion of the notes receivable, kunin mo lang din yung non-current portion ng unearned interest income. Ayan. So the non-current portion as computed here, that's 15,000. So deduct mo lang yan siya from the non-current portion also of the notes receivable na 20,000. That leaves you with a carrying amount or amortized cost for 185,000. Ayan. Now, let's proceed to illustration number 3. Okay. So, still non-interest bearing note. Yan. So, on January 1, 2017, an entity sold an equipment with a cost of 250,000 pesos for 400,000 pesos. Ayan. So, the selling price is 400,000. Okay. So, the buyer paid a down payment of 100,000 pesos. May down payment na 100,000 pesos and signed non-interest bearing note for 300,000 pesos payable in equal installment of 100,000 pesos every December 31. Ayan. So, recap lang natin, no? Or summarize natin. Ayan. So, the selling price, ayan, is 400,000. Of course, naging 400,000 yan siya. Okay? That includes, no, the interest, no, which will be computed later. Ayan. Knowing that may down payment na 100,000 and the remaining 300,000 is represented by a note. Ayan. Payable in equal annual installment of 100,000. So, 3 years yan siya. Okay? Na payment. That's 100,000 times 3, that's 300,000 for the balance. Ayan. So, the prevailing interest rate for a similar note is 10%. So, the present value of an ordinary annuity of 1 for 3 periods at 10% is 2.4869. So, maganda tong illustration na to because binigay na yung present value factor. In this case, that's 2.4869. Ayan. So, compute the present value of the note. Number 2, compute the unearned interest income. And number 3, compute the gain on sale. So, unahin muna natin ang pag-compute ng present value ng note. Ayan. So, the present value of the note is computed as follows. Okay? So, remember na may annual payment ka na 100,000. So, yan. I-multiply mo siya sa present value factor, no, na 2.4869. Ito. Okay? That's the present value of the note is 248,890. Now, if you're asking, no, kung paano kinuha si 2.4869, okay? Yung gagamitin natin is the present value of an ordinary annuity of 1. Okay? So, kailan nga gagamitin si PV of an ordinary annuity of 1? Okay, that's when there is series, no, of equal future cash flows. Yan. So dahil yung illustration na to, this is a series of equal cash flows. In this case, equal annual installment. Kaya yung ginamit natin is the present value of an ordinary annuity of 1. Okay? The formula is ito. Ayan. Okay? So if you use this formula, then you'll get the present value factor na 2.4869, which will be used to get the present value of the note. Multiply it by the annual payment of 100,000. So the present value again of the note is 248,690. So may present value na tayo. Now let's get the unearned interest income. So simply, the unearned interest income, okay, is what? Computed as or by deducting from the face value of the note the present value of the note. So the present value of the note, that's 300,000. Of course, ito. Less the present value na 248,690. So the difference would be the discount. Yan. Or the unearned interest income. 51,310. Yan. Now, the third one is compute the gain on sale. So the gain on sale is, you get na muna, no, the sales price or the sales price which is net of the unearned interest income. Okay, so remember that 400,000 here, okay, it includes, because of the note, okay, the issuance of a promissory note, it includes interest income. Ayan. So we extract from this one the unearned interest income para makuha natin yung talagang selling price niya. Okay? Ayan. So, to get the selling price, that's the present value of the note as computed. That's 248,690. You add the down payment, no? May down payment tayo na 100,000. So, 100,000 dito. So, the sum of these two would be the sales price of the equipment. That's 348,690. Ayan. So, selling price minus cost of the equipment, no? Which is 250,000. Kaya meron tayong gain on sale of equipment na 98,690. Ayan. Okay, so gawa tayo ng journal entries. Ayan. So, the journal entries for 2017. So, upon the sale transaction, okay, upon the happening of the sale transaction, the journal entry would be a debit to cash for 100,000. Okay, so the 100,000 cash debit is yung down payment. Yan. A debit to the notes receivable, also the 300,000. Yan. And credit to the cost of equipment, 250,000. Yan. And a credit to gain on sale of equipment as computed, 98,690. And a credit to the unearned interest income na 51,310. Ito yung magiging journal entry natin at the time of sale, no? Ayan. Now, how about the journal entry, okay, for the first installment? Okay, so assuming na December 31 na, okay, December 31, ayan, of 2017, so, first annual installment or payment, no? So, syempre, the entity will receive a cash, okay, for the 100,000 annual installment. First annual installment. And credit to notes receivable. Ayan, for 100,000. Okay? So, to record the interest income naman, so, di ba, may 1 year na nag-lapse. So, dahil may 1 year na nag-lapse, so, it is rightful for the entity to recognize interest income from the recorded and earned interest income. So, dapat may reclassification na. Okay? Now, the entry shown here, okay, shows an amount for 24,869. Ito yung magiging entry. Debit to unearned interest income, credit to interest income. Okay. Now, the question is, paano kinuha si 24,869? paano ba siya kinuha? Ayan. So, the solution would be this one. Ayan. So, the carrying amount, okay, so the carrying amount or the present value of the note on as of the happening of the transaction or the transaction date, which is January 1, 2017. Diba, na-compute natin kanina yung present value for 248,690. You just have to multiply it by the interest rate. So, di ba yung interest rate natin is 10%. Okay, that's multiplied by 10%. Okay, that would mean the interest income for 2017. Ayan. Okay, so that's 24,869. So, ito na yung ating interest income here. That's 24,869. Now, dahil lumipas ng isang taon, no, that's from January 1, 2017 transaction date to December 31, 2017, okay, we can now compute the carrying amount of the note as of December 31, 2017 or its amortized cost. Ayan. So the amortized cost now of the notes receivable as of December 31, 2017 would be, paano siya kunin, no? Okay, so that's present value, okay, on January 1, 2017 na 248,690 minus principal allocation na 75,131. Of course, that will give us the carrying amount or amortized cost, okay, on December 31, 2017, which is 173,559. Now, paano kinuha naman si 75,131 na principal allocation? Okay? So, di ba, on December 31, the first annual installment, naka-receive si entity ng 100,000 na payment. Yeah. So, 100,000. Okay? So, you have to remember that a non-interest bearing note actually earns interest. Okay? So, it is a misnomer that a notes receivable earns no interest. Misnomer yon. Kasi in truth and in fact, may interest talaga yon. Okay? But the interest is thereby included na siya sa amount or sa entire amount of the note. Okay? So in this case, kung ang note receivable natin, which is non-interest bearing, 300,000 pesos, okay? May interest talaga yon. Okay? And the interest is already embedded or included na siya sa 300,000. Ayan. So, paano i-compute si interest income? So, yun na nga kanina. Diba? Ito. Okay? This is how you compute the interest income. And dahil, interest income, ito siya for year 1 or for 2017. Ayan. So, dahil ito yung interest income, meaning it is part of the annual collection. Di ba naka-receive in year 1 si entity ng 100,000, okay, cash installment. Okay? Ayan, 100,000. Okay, actually, the 100,000 is not entirely on the principal. Okay? Part of which is payment for the principal and part of which is the earned interest income. Ayan. So, that's to get the principal allocation, so kung paano ba kunin si amount attributable to the principal dito sa 100,000, okay, deduct mo lang, simple. No, deduct mo lang yung interest dyan. Okay, di ba yung interest natin is 24,869. I-deduct mo lang siya from the 100,000 collection in year 1. Okay, so makukuha mo si payment for the principal na 75,131. Okay? Ayan, eto yun siya. Again, and i-deduct mo yan siya sa carrying amount on January 1, 2017, din meron ka ng carrying amount or amortized cost on December 31, 2017, which is 173,559. So, to make things more organized, meron tayo ditong table, no? So, yung table natin, ayan, so may date tayo. Yung date natin is, nandyan yung transaction date, which is January 1, 2017. Tapos, December 31, 2017, 2018, and 2019. Ayan. So, dapat 2019 to. Okay. So, baka typo lang. Typo lang yun siya. Ayan. So, annual collection natin, remember na equal annual payment yun siya for 100,000. Okay. 100,000 in December 30, 2017, 2018, and 2019. Ayan. Okay? So, in the present value of the note, of course, diba, kinu-compute natin yun siya at the beginning or at the date of the transaction. So, dahil the transaction date is the beginning of 2017, which is January 1, 2017, so the present value is computed on that date. Okay? So, nilagay din natin siya dito straight sa transaction date na January 1, 2017. That's 248,690. Now, ano nga itong 248,690? That is the present value of the note, or that is the initial measurement of the long-term non-interest bearing note. Okay, so saan nga natin yan siya na-compute? Dito. Ayan, that's 248,690. Okay, so yan yung present value niya. Yan. Okay, now, may table tayo dito, of course, to give us a guide, no? Okay, with regards to the present value, okay, or the amortized cost of the note for every period. Okay, so at the beginning of 2017, January 1, 2017, ito pa yung present value niya. Dahil on December 31, 2017, naka-receive si entity ng 100,000, okay, collection from the customer. Okay, so si 100,000, that includes payment for not just for the principal but also for the interest. Ayan. So that's part of that is payment for the interest and part of that is payment for the principal. So to get the portion applicable as interest income for the year 2017, okay, multiply mo lang si present value na 248,690 by the applicable interest rate, which is 10%, meron kang interest income dito na 24,689. That's 248,690 times 10%. That's 24,869. Okay? So, dahil may portion ka na applicable to the interest, makukuha mo na si portion applicable to principal. So, from 100,000 annual collection, i-deduct mo lang yung applicable kay interest na 24,869. Now, that's 100,000 minus 24,869. Okay, may principal allocation ka or payment for principal na 75,131. Okay? So, dahil may amount ka na as payment for principal, deduct mo siya sa present value, okay, na 248,690. Okay, so the present value, the amortized costs, or the carrying amount of the notes now will be 173,559. Paano nga siya kinuha? That's 248,690 minus the payment applicable to principal na 75,131. Kaya meron ka na lang 173,559. Now, to get the interest income naman for 2018, simple, okay? You just have to multiply the carrying amount or the amortized cost of the note on December 31, 2017 by the interest rate na 10%, okay? That will give you the interest income for 2018 na 17,356, okay? So, dahil 100,000 pa rin yung collection in 2018, so i-allocate mo, no? Si 100,000 na annual collection in 2018, 17,356 would be allotted or allocated for the interest. Okay? And the remainder would be allocated as payment for the principal. Okay, that's 100,000 annual collection by the entity minus applicable to the interest, which is 17,356. Okay, that leaves us with the portion applicable to principal na 82,644. Okay, so si principal payment for 2018, i-deduct mo lang siya from 173,559 na amortized cost, no, sa end of 2017 or December 31, 2017. So the carrying amount or the amortized cost in December 31, 2018 would be 90,915 na lang. Okay. Now, for the final settlement, okay, December 31, 2019, still 19 ito ha. Yan, 19. So, still 100,000 pa rin yun, di ba? Kasi same or equal annual installment man tayo. So, 100,000 pa rin. So, still, you have to allocate the portion applicable to as payment for the interest in kay principal. Now, dahil last this is now in 2019, it's now the settlement date. Okay? So yung and the balance of the principal, okay, or the carrying amount of the note as of December 31, 2018 is 90,915. Matic na yan carried as okay, portion allocated to principal here in 2019. Ayan. Okay? So, ang the difference sa cash collection na 100,000 and the remainder of the principal would mean the interest income. Ayan. You see, iba yung procedure no, ng pag-compute ng interest income sa previous years kaysa sa settlement date, okay, or final year. Kasi sa previous year, sa 2017 and 2018, kinukuha natin si interest income by multiplying the balance, no, the balance of the or the carrying amount or the amortized cost of the notes, okay, by multiply natin siya by the interest rate. Okay, nakukuha natin si interest income. Pero sa final year, okay, yung ginagawa natin is kinukuha muna natin yung portion applicable kay principal. Ayan. Kung ano yung portion of kung ano yung balance ng principal or yung carrying amount ng notes receivable, okay? Sa 2018, yun na yung in 2019 no, sa final year, yun na yung ating principal allocation sa annual collection. Okay? So you just have to deduct 100,000 by you just have to deduct no 100,000 annual cash collection by 90,950 na balance or carrying amount or amortized cost ng notes receivable, then you get the interest income na 9,085. So, after the final payment, okay, final installment in 2019, December 31, 2019, so zero na yung carrying amount. So, settled na yung notes. Ayan. So, gawa natin ng journal entries. Okay? So, may entry na tayo for 2017 na. Yan, ito yung ginawa natin. Okay? So, at the time of the transaction, the end of the year collection, first year collection, and as well as the end of the year, okay, recognition of interest income. Ayan. Now, for 2018 naman, okay, the second year. Ayan. So, syempre, si entity makaka-receive ng another 100,000 payment. No? That's debit cash, credit, notes receivable for 100,000. Okay. So, to record the receipt of cash. Okay? And, of course, kailangan mag-record ng interest income. So, the interest income would be, okay, dahil nakakompute na tayo for 2018 na 17,356. So, that's debit to unearned interest income, 17,356. And a credit to interest income na 17,556. Okay? So, for the final year, 2019, okay, for 2019 again, that's debit cash, final settlement, credit notes receivable, 100,000 pa rin. And then, of course, may interest income pa rin tayo for this year. Yan. So, as computed na 9,085. So, that would be debit to unearned interest income, 9,085. And a credit to interest income na 9,085. Okay, so 'di ba may pinakita tayo kanina na computation on how to compute or formula on how to compute the amortized cost of a long-term non-interest bearing note. Okay, so again, after initial recognition, subsequent to initial recognition, the notes receivable, the long-term non-interest bearing notes receivable should be measured at amortized cost. So ito yung formula na pinakita natin kanina, how to compute the amortized cost. Ayan. So let's prove it here kung ganito ba talaga yung computation. Now, kung may mga calculator kayo right now, no, while watching the lecture, okay, you may get your calculator, no? Pwede na basic calculator. Ayan. Plus minus lang tayo dito. Okay? So sabi dito that to get the amortized cost, that's to begin with, so that's initial measurement of the note at present value. So si XX, no? Ayan. So you have there, okay, so that's 248,690. So ito yung initial measurement of the note, present value. So please follow me, ha. Enter kayo sa mga calculator nyo. Ayan. So minus principal repayment. So yung sinasabi niya dito na principal repayment is actually the 100,000 cash collection or payment, no? Or collection by the entity, of course, in a given period. So, lagay nyo sa calculator nyo, 248,690 minus 100,000 na principal repayment. Ayan. Okay? Next is sa formula, plus or minus the cumulative amortization of any difference between the initial carrying amount and the principal maturity amount. Now, dahil discount ito, okay, plus yung gagamitin natin. I-add natin siya sa difference ng dalawang to. Ayan, so again, dahil discount ito, and remember that the entire unearned interest income, no? So yung na-compute natin unearned interest income na ito, 51,310, ito actually yung discount, no? Ito, 51,310. Ayan. So, okay, going back in your calculators, okay, that's recap lang no, 248,690 minus the principal repayment na 100,000. Okay? Plus, okay, dahil discount, so plus the cumulative amortization. So dahil 1 year pa lang tayo, so yung cumulative amortization is 24,869. So i-add mo si 24,869. Again, that's 248,690 minus the 100,000 na principal repayment plus the cumulative amortization of the discount. Okay? 24,869. What you'll get should be 173,559 in your calculators. Ayan. Okay? So, next, for year 2. Ayan. So, actually, yung nakuha nyo na 173,559 in your calculators, okay, dahil wala tayong reduction for impairment, wala man tayong impairment na information. So, yun na yung amortized cost niya. Okay? That's, again, 248,690 minus principal repayment na 100,000 minus cumulative amortization of the discount na plus cumulative amortization of the discount dahil year 1 pa ito. So, the cumulative amortization of the discount is the 24,869. Again, the answer must be 173,550. Ayan. Now, how about the amortized cost in 2018? Paano ba natin kunin yung amortized cost in 2018? Ayan. So, ito pa rin formula na gamitin natin. Now, in your calculator, dahil initial measurement of the note for present value, ito pa rin. Okay, that's 248,690. Lagay nyo sa calculators nyo. Okay? Ayan. Less principal repayment. Remember na in 2018, dalawa na yung principal repayment. In December 31, 2017 and in December 31, 2018. So, dalawa na ang principal repayment. Of course, that's 200,000. 100 here plus 100 here, that's 200,000. Okay? So, again, in your calculator, input nyo si 248,690 minus 200,000. Ayan. Tapos, add cumulative. So, dahil sabi niya cumulative amortization, so i-add ninyo yung interest income for 2017 and 2018. Okay? Add 24,869 plus 17,356. Okay? You should get 90,915 in your calculators. Okay? So, kung tama yung nakuha nyo or kung yung nakuha nyo is 90,915, okay, so just hit like no, sa video na to. Ayan. So, another technique. May another technique tayo kung paano kunin si 173,559 or yung balance ng carry o yung carrying amount at the end of the year. At the end of the second year, at the end of the third year. Ayan. Okay, sige. Unahin natin pagkuha si 173,559. Okay? Without having to compute etong mga to. Ayan. So, calculators nyo lang as if ito lang yung data na available at saka ito. Okay? So, syempre, kuha naman natin si 248,690, di ba? So, yan yung starting point natin kanina. Kuha na natin yan. Now, technique on how to get this one. Especially if may mga exams kayo na very limited yung time. So, very hassle, di ba? Syempre, on your end, no? Na maggawa pa kayo ng, ng table, di ba? So, yung gagawin nyo na lang is just, some techniques. Ayan. It will save you during exams, no? With very limited time. Ayan. So, ganito yung gawin nyo. Okay? So, from 248,690, remember na 10% yung interest rate natin, di ba? So, that's 1 plus I. Gawin yung 1.10. Okay, that's 1 plus the 10% interest. Again, that's 1.10. No? So, si 248,690. Okay, in your calculator, i-multiply nyo by 1.10. Okay? So, i-multiply nyo sa 1.10. The answer for that, minus 100,000, you should get the carrying amount or the amortized cost for December 31, 2017 amounting to 173,559. You should get this one. Ayan. Now, to get naman, pag may value ka na dito, okay, tapos yung tinatanong is the carrying amount on December 31, 2018. Okay, eto, okay, paano daw kunin to? So, from December 31, 2018 na carrying amount na 173,559, multiply mo lang again by 1.10 in your calculator now, minus 100,000, you should get 90,915. Ayan. So, it is very important, no, na alam natin yung mga simple techniques lang naman. Ayan. Okay, so, kasi sa board exam, syempre, hindi naman tatanungin o hindi ka naman kailangan gumawa ng table na to, di ba? Okay, so, syempre, sa board exam, tatanungin lang niya, how much is the interest income for that year? No? How much is the carrying amount for 2018? Ayan. So, makukuha mo yan siya without having to prepare or to create a table, amortization table. Ayan. Okay? So, that's it for illustration number 3. So, let's proceed to illustration number 4. Okay, so illustration number 4. In an interest-bearing note pa rin. On January 1, 2017, an entity sold an equipment costing 600,000 pesos with accumulated depreciation of 200,000 pesos. So the entity received as consideration 100,000 pesos cash and a 400,000 non-interest-bearing note due on January 1, 2020. So kung napansin nyo sa problem, hindi siya installment yung payment sa 400,000. Kasi accordingly, the non-interest bearing note is due on January 1, 2020. So, lump sum or one-time payment siya. Ayan. Dahil one-time payment siya, yung present value factor na gagamitin natin should be present value of 1, no? Which is accordingly, or which is given na siya dito. So, the prevailing rate of interest for a note of this type is 10%. So, the present value of 1 at 10% for 3 years is 0.753. 513. Ayan. Okay? So, gawa tayo ng journal entry. Okay? But of course, before tayo gumawa ng journal entry, let's compute na muna the present value. Just like kanina, compute muna the present value of the note as well as the discount or the unearned interest income. Yan. So, to compute, of course, you got there the total face value na 400,000. Okay, the note, okay, di ba 400,000 yun. Multiply mo lang siya sa present value factor na 0.7513. So, again, yung formula na gagamitin natin is the present value of 1. Yan. Kasi nga, one-time payment siya or lump sum payment. Okay, that's PV factor. How to compute? That's 1 plus I raised to the power of negative n. Okay. Yung n natin dito is negative 3. Ayan. Okay. And yung I natin dito is 10%. So if you have your calculators right now, you can actually get the present value factor na 0.7513 by what? Lagay nyo sa calculator nyo. 1 plus 10% or 1.10 raised to the power of negative 3. Kasi 3 years yun, di ba? From January 1, 2017 to 2018, no? January 1, 2020, no? So that's January 1, 2017 to January 1, 2020. That's 3 years. Ayan. So, lagay nyo sa calculator nyo, 1 plus 10% or 1.10 raised to the power of negative 3 for 3 years. Okay, it should give you a result of the 0.7513 na present value factor of 1 at 10% for 3 years. Yan. So, to get the present value of the note, that's total face value na 400,000. Again, you multiply it by the present value factor. Of course, it will give you the present value of the note na 300,520. Yan. So, you have there the present value of the note minus, face value of the note na 400,000 minus present value of the note na 300,520. Okay, so you'll get an earned interest income or the discount na 99,480. Okay, so the next one is to get the gain on sale of equipment, of course. No? So may present value ka na note sa note na 300,520. Okay, i-add mo si down payment. Okay, na 100,000. Okay, that will give you the selling price or the sales price of the equipment na 400,520. Ayan. And then you less the carrying amount of the equipment, that's 350,000, no? Okay. So the gain on sale is 50,520. Yeah. So the entry would be dito. Yan. So debit cash for the amount of the down payment received. Debit notes receivable for the 400,000 note. Debit mo kasi may accumulated depreciation siya na 250,000. I-close mo na kasi nga nabenta na. So i-debit mo na si accumulated depreciation 250,000. Okay? So may kailangan pa ba na i-debit? Wala na. So next is a credit to the equipment. Of course, the amount of the equipment to be credited is its cost, no? And accordingly, the cost is 600,000. So, credit mo siya. And, of course, the gain as computed dito na 50,520 and the discount or the unearned interest income na 99,480. Of course, yan yung entry. Okay? On 2000 or for 2017, the year of the transaction. Yan. So, okay, so the next thing is to record, okay, for 2017, the interest income, okay, or how much interest income should be recognized, no? So the entry would be debit to unearned interest income and a credit to interest income na 30,052. Okay, so the question would be, paano kinuha si 30,052? So just like our example kanina, multiply mo lang si interest rate kay present value of the note, then you'll get the interest income for that year, no? So, di ba may na-compute tayo na carrying amount kay ito, 300,520 on January 1, 2017. To get the interest income for that year, multiply mo lang siya by 10%. That gives you the interest income for 2017. Ayan. So, to get the carrying amount of the note, okay, on December 31, 2017, i-add mo lang si present value mo on January 1, 2017. I-add mo lang siya kay interest income recognized for 2017. Okay, that's 300,520 na present value for January 1, 2017 plus the interest income for the year na 30,052. So the carrying amount on December 31, 2017 of the note would be 330,572. Yan. So of course, okay, para mas maliwanagan tayo, mayroon tayo ditong amortization table. Yan. So remember that sa illustration na to, one-time cash flow or lump sum payment yung nangyayari. Ayan. Kaya iba yung table dito, di ba? Okay? So, wala kang makikita na column for annual payment or installment. Kasi nga, wala naman talagang annual installment. Kasi nga, one-time cash flow or lump sum payment ito. Okay? So, meron ka pa ring date section. That's for January 1, 2017, the date of the transaction. Okay, the end of the year, 2017, 18, at saka 19. Okay, so 19 ito. Ayan. Okay, so you have a column for the interest income. Okay, so, and you also have a column for an earned interest income. Okay, balance. Ayan. And the column here, okay, for likewise, for the present value, the amortized cost, or the carrying amount. Ayan. Okay, so, for January 1, 2017, may nakuha ka na present value, okay, na 300,520. So, yun yung ilagay mo dito. Okay, ayan, first value. Now, di ba may nakuha ka na 99,480 na unearned interest income. So, yun din yung ilagay mo dito. 99,480 na balance of the unearned interest, okay, on January 1, 2017, date of the transaction. Now, 1 year later, December 31, 2017, the computed interest income is ganito. 300,520 as what I have said kanina. Multiply mo lang yan siya ng 10% the interest rate. Then you get the interest income for 2017 na 30,052. Of course, dahil may na-recognize ka na interest income for 2017, i-deduct mo yan siya sa balance, no, ng unearned interest. Kasi na-earn na nga siya, di ba? So, that's 99,480 minus the interest earned or income recognized for the year na 30,052. So, the balance on December 31, 2017 of the unearned interest income would be 69,428. Ayan. Okay? So, si carrying amount mo, okay, paano nga kinuha si carrying amount? Okay? That's balance, no, na 300,520, add mo si interest income recognized during the year na 30,052. So the balance or the carrying amount or the amortized cost of the note on December 31, 2017 would be 330,572. Okay? So, syempre, may tricks tayo dyan. No? Yan, na hindi mo na kailangan gumawa pa ng table to get the carrying amount of the note or the amortized cost of the note. Okay? So, yung gawin mo, okay, kunin mo yung calculator mo. Yan. So, input mo sa calculator mo si 300,520. Okay? The present value or the initial measurement of the note. Okay? And, ayan, multiply mo by 1.10. Okay, that's 1 plus 10%. That's 1.10. Okay, so, again, 300,520 times 1.10. You should get 330,572. Ayan. Okay? Wala ka nang ima-minus. Bakit? Kasi ano man, wala ka mang annual payment dito. One-time cash flow man to sa. Okay? So, you see, the amortized or the amortization of the discount, no, it is added to the carrying amount or the balance of the notes receivable to get the amortized cost. Yan. Wala lang tayong principal repayment every year kasi nga, again, hindi ito installment. Lump sum payment ito. Ayan. So, to get the carrying amount of the note naman on December 31, 2018, syempre, kunin mo muna yung interest income for 2018. So, may balance ka na dito na ayan, may balance ka na dito na 330,572. Multiplied mo yan by 10%. Then, of course, makukuha mo si 2018 na interest income, okay, which is 33,057. Ayan. Interest income mo yan siya for 2018. Now, the balance of the unearned interest for 2017 na 69,428. Okay? I-deduct mo si 33,057 na earned interest income, no, in 2018. So, the balance na lang of the unearned interest in 2018 is 36,371. Yan. So, to get naman the carrying amount or the amortized cost of the notes receivable, okay, for December 31, 2018. Okay? So, si amortized cost in 2017 at 330,572. I-add mo lang si 33,057 or the interest income for 2018. Then you'll get the 2018 balance of the notes receivable or the carrying amount or amortized cost of notes receivable. Ayan. Okay, so for the final year, 2019, although the settlement is January 1, 2020 pa, so ano ba naman, isang araw lang naman, di ba, yung pagitan ng December 31, 2019 at January 1, 2020, di ba? Okay, so actually the final year would be on 2019, no, in this case. So, plus, hindi mo na i-multiply si 363,629 by 10% para makuha ang interest income in 2019. So, 2019 again ito ha, ano lang, typo error lang siya. Ayan. Okay, so yung gagawin mo na lang is kasi in a lump sum payment of, or in a lump sum, payment of notes receivable. Okay, so the end point here, okay, the balance at the end, okay, of the, or at the end of the life of the note should be its face value, 400,000. Okay, so di ba may balance ka na in 2018 na sa note mo, na amortized cost ng note mo in 2018 is 363,629. Okay? And in 2019, December 31, 2019, the balance of which should be 400,000, its face value. I-deduct mo lang siya. You just have to deduct 400,000 minus the 400,000 balance of the notes or the amortized cost of the note on December 31, 2019 minus the amortized cost of the note on December 31, 2018 na 363,629. Then you'll get the interest income. Actually, kung ginamit pa lang natin na na present value factor is hindi yung ni-round off, okay? So kasi ito kasing 0.7513 rounded off na kasi yan siya. Okay? So pero kung ginamit natin yung exact present value factor talaga, then we'll get an exact interest din dito if we multiply it this one dito, no? So si amortized cost in 2018. Pero again, dahil may nag-round off tayo, so we should expect na if you multiply this one, si amortized cost in 2018 by 10%, the interest income na makukuha mo in 2019 would not be enough, no? More or less to get the 400,000 amortized cost at the end of the life of the note pag i-add mo siya sa amortized cost in 2018. Ayan. So again, dahil nag-round off tayo, so simple, okay, i-deduct na lang natin si 400,000 or i-deduct na lang natin from 400,000 na amortized cost in 2019, ang amortized cost in 2018 as computed. So ito na yung interest income natin in 2019, 36,371. So of course, pag in-add mo si 363,629 na amortized cost in 2018, sa interest income mo in 2019 at 36,371, you should get 400,000. Diba? Kasi kinuha naman natin to sa difference lang ng dalawang to. Diba? Ayan. Okay? So, that's the amortization table for illustration number 3. No? Lump sum. Ayan. Payment for a long-term, non-interest bearing note. Yeah. So, the journal entry would be this one. Okay? So, for 2017, December 31, 2017, it is to recognize the interest income. Debit unearned interest income, credit interest income. Of course, as computed na ito, 30,052. Yeah. So, that's 30,052. For December 31, 2018 naman, okay? So, by the way, baka magtanong kayo, bakit wala tayong entry for recording cash collection in 2017? Wala nga naman talaga. Kasi nga, hindi ito annual installment, diba? Hindi ito installment, no? One-time payments. Wala kang marirecord na cash for 2017. Yan. So, in 2018, yung i-record din natin is the recognition of interest income. As computed, the interest income is 33,057. Ayan. For 2018. Kaya, 33,057 for 2018. And for 2019, no? Okay, so this should not be 2020. This should be 2019. Ayan. For December 31, 2018, na-record pa rin tayo ng interest income na 36,371 as computed dito. 36,371. Okay? And on January 1, okay, kinabukasan, syempre, final settlement payment na. Payment na ni client or collection na ni entity. Yeah. Syempre, makaka-receive siya ng cash, which is the face value of the note, 400,000. Okay? Yeah, debit cash, 400,000. At credit to notes receivable for 400,000. So, after this entry, syempre, settled na yung notes receivable. Ayan. Okay? So, that's it for notes receivable. No? Basics and some techniques lang naman of notes receivable. Accounting for notes receivable. Okay, now it's your turn. Okay, answer this problem. Okay, and the following questions, 5 questions. And type your answer in the comment down below. As well as for problem number 2. Ayan. Again, also type your answer in the comment section below. Okay, so I hope that you'll get it right. Bye bye.